Hello and welcome to the Town of Litchfield Recreation Commission meeting. Today is Tuesday, October 25th, 2022. We are meeting live at the Town Hall Conference Room at 7 p.m. We'll do a roll call. Andy Ruggles, Vice Chair.
Present.
Judy Brennan, Secretary.
Here.
Mr. Mike Bosky, Member.
Present.
Mr. Jeff Town, Alternate.
Here.
Mr. Chris Burns, Member.
Present.
Mr. Steve Weber, Selectman's Rep.
Present.
And my name is Steve Gannon. I am the chair. Peter Ames will be with us within the half hour possibly. He's running a little late this evening. Go on to approval of meeting minutes. The last one is for October 11th, 2022. It was a very quick, short meeting. Absent that evening was myself, Mr. Burns, Mr. Weber, and Mr. Town. Present was Mr. Ruggles, Mrs. Brennan, Mr. Bosky, and Mr. Ames. Has those four members have a chance to review the meeting minutes? Are there any changes, edits, or modifications you wish?
I don't see any edits. Nope.
Nope.
I didn't either.
Nope.
All right, can I have a motion to accept the meeting minutes for October 11th, 2022 as written?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All right. All those in favor of approving the meeting minutes, please signify by saying aye and raising your hand.
Aye.
Aye.
Nays, abstained.
Aye.
You could abstain too. So, motion carries 3-0-4. Moving on, facilities and field requests. We have two. Spirit of Litchfield is looking to use Royal Memorial Park for the tree lighting. I'm guessing it would be for the tree lighting and the whole Christmas event, not sure. December 10th, 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. We looked at the schedule and LRBL is in Talent Hall from 7 a.m. to 2 p.m. that day. Andy, would you mind speaking with LRBL to see if they could accommodate Spirit of Litchfield, either not playing that day or leaving at noon or whatever?
Yep.
And then,
If they need an alternate time, they could do Sunday after 12 o'clock.
Okay.
Or Chris, we're out there by 12, right? 9 to 12, I think we have. Hopefully, yeah. But at least it gives them flexibility instead of losing a weekend. Yeah, 12:30.
with their schedule, they're probably looking for a day off. They're in there 5 days, 6 days a week for 3 or 4 months. Spirit of Litchfield is a subcommittee of the rec, so we do not require COI. We'll work with them on figuring out what else they want to do. I'm gonna table this until Andy gets back to us on working with LRBL, and then we'll solidify the date and we'll readdress it at the next meeting. Got plenty of time. Second one is Campbell High School. Joshua Knight is looking to use Sawmill Park Tuesday.
I'm not sure if those dates are correct, because I was trying to follow emails, but there was no official form.
Yeah, this was
It
a,
looks like they were asking for yesterday and,
No, it was
no,
there.
today and tomorrow?
Today, tomorrow,
then
and Sunday. Yeah.
Okay.
yeah,
They didn't use it today.
they didn't use it today.
They didn't end up using it today, no.
This was a last minute thing. They have, their fields are muddy,
Yeah.
so they're trying to stay off it. Well, they really don't want to make them any worse. So they've been working with Mike on getting on to Sawmill Brook, and Sawmill's free, or there's plenty of space at that time.
So they don't have to do a form?
No, we would, because it's a last minute thing, I'm
Okay.
not gonna require a form, nor do they need insurance because they are, with the school.
All right, does the school in general need to fill out those forms if they
They
request?
usually do.
Okay.
Usually do at the beginning of the, it's,
Alright.
at the beginning of the season, when they're requesting it for the full season, they do request.
But Campbell doesn't typically use our fields.
Campbell doesn't use our fields.
Usually it's
Right.
LMS
They
or
do for
GMS.
softball,
They use, yeah,
JV.
but I'll say, I'm not even sure they fill out requests to use Dara for JV. I don't think they have in the past. If I
They-
remember.
Does LMS
They
fill them
used to,
out for?
because we used to have to
using
work around
Dara?
them.
LMS does.
So wouldn't
LMS
that cover the
does.
whole school district?
Campbell used to do
Well-
one, because LGSL had to work around their schedule and their
Yeah.
games over there.
Yeah, I'm not,
I'm just thinking if LMS filled it out for soccer, wouldn't that cover the district themselves? Because I'm sure it says school district.
Insurance-wise, I would say yes.
insurance-wise, I'm sure it's covered.
It's covered.
That's, yeah.
Yeah, I think if it's repetitive dates and times, then we definitely want a facilities and field request form so that we can schedule it. This one was one of those last minute
Yeah,
things,
that's
they're
why I wasn't
scrambling.
sure of the dates. It was
Yeah.
like Tuesday, Wednesday, and Sunday, and I was like, well, I'm gonna take a guess.
When it comes to that, I refer to Mike, and if he says it's available, then it's
Yeah.
good with me.
I mean, I emailed him last night about it because I didn't know how the rain was. I
Yep.
emailed him less than a half hour ago about the same thing for tomorrow because, if it's supposed to rain all night apparently, so I don't know what it's gonna be like. It was fine actually today. I was a little surprised, but, what it's gonna be like tomorrow after more rain, I don't know.
Right. Sunday, it's supposed to be pretty nice. It's supposed to
Sunday,
be-
yeah, the weekend's supposed to be pretty good.
And we made sure that soccer has their jamboree on Saturday, so the fields are
Correct.
free Sunday. So we really, I don't think we need to vote on that. It's one of those things, we'll just work with the schools and let them use the fields if we can. New business, we have the field maintenance contract and extension procedure. We do have two companies with us this evening. How would you guys like to handle this? You want to discuss first, and then we'll go to a vote? And that way we can engage the contractors? Does that work for everyone?
It'd be great if they can come and present their proposal to us.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, start off with Alliance first. He was first in the room, Ryan. So we'll start off with Glenn. Don't you have a seat at the table, please, sir? Hello, how are you?
Good.
If you could state your name, we know you're a Litchfield resident, so we don't need that, but state your name and the company that you're representing.
Glenn Hilson with Alliance Landscaping.
Alliance is our current contractor. They've been here for 1 year. Last year, the bid was, what, $85,001. This year, Alliance came in looking for 106,960, which is an increase of 21,959. We are very familiar with Alliance. They provided us all the information required last year, such as the insurance. If we need it, I'm sure we'll get it again.
Yep.
He provided us the licenses to spread fertilizer.
Yep.
How about we'll stop there and we'll let you present your offering, and we'll talk about it as a commission.
We enjoyed taking care of the fields this year. Like I said, it was our first year. I do live in town, so again, enjoying maintaining the fields. Grandson plays on them, so I go to them a lot on the weekends too, so. Pretty much the reason for our increase, one of them was we had that fungicide, which was added to the contract this year that was not in it last year. So we're responsible if there's a fungus problem in the fields to maintain that and take care of it. So there'd be no additional charges to Litchfield if something like that happened like it did this year. So that's all covered in the contract this year. Other than that, just some, rise in fertilizer prices was the biggest jump that we had. But as far as that, maintaining the fields and stuff, we didn't struggle. We had a good time, no problems. So, sure like to be there again. That's our goal. So.
I would say that
Any questions?
I do like the way the fields look. They look good. I like the mowing has been up and above what I anticipated. I would say that.
Yep.
Anybody from the board have questions you'd like to ask Mr. Hilson from Alliance?
Can you talk a little bit about the fungicide that happened this year and what the process is to mitigate it and what might come down the road, whether it's drought or too much water or?
Sure, it wasn't, it was a brown spot fungus that was in there, and I don't have a degree in in this, but the fertilizer manager that we have does. But I noticed it right away, that the yellow spots were growing, and it was not drought, because there's plenty of irrigation down there. So we evaluated what it was and told you when we took care of it with a fungicide, granular product, and 2 applications, within less than 4 weeks, it was gone. But if we hadn't done anything at that time, it would have taken over the whole field.
What field was this at?
This was at Sawmill Brook.
Sawmill? Okay.
Yep.
So you're,
And it can happen in a dry year or a drought, or a wet year.
okay. So your fungicide prevention, is that just for Sawmill this year? or-
No,
or
it
next
covers
year?
all
Or is
fields.
it
It
all
covers
okay.
all fields. We're gonna put down a preventer and monitor it, and if something happens, we can react. But
Perfect.
yeah,
Thank you.
that was quite a scare when I saw that day. It's like,
Yeah, when I saw the email, I was thinking brown spots, and I was thinking.
you must have saw the
spots.
picture I sent. It was.
Yeah, I went down and looked at it. I think a lot of people did go down and look at it. It was much larger than I
Can you
anticipated.
imagine, like, 3 weeks later, it was gone?
No, that would not be good.
I was like, I can't believe it. But, yeah, we also maintain the, the outside areas of the fields, the parking lot edges and all that stuff. I think we made great strides this year in pushing back the wood line, quite far compared to what it had been in years past. I know up on, Brook Drive, field where the bleachers were, you couldn't even sit in them, they were just all overcome with the brush, and we've cleaned that all out and maintained it, so, it's nice to sit there again. But,
Yeah, that looks awesome out there.
yeah, we,
Thank you for that.
and push back all the fences should not have any, brush growing in, it's inside the fence anywhere now, so. Two different animals.
Does anyone else?
How much of the increase is due to the fungicide treatment for all the fields versus increases in the fertilizer prices?
I would say roughly $8,000 for fungicide,
Okay.
yeah.
And how much did we spend on that as a surprise this year for Sawmill?
I believe it was around 6.
Yeah,
I don't remember.
yeah, so I think
Change.
two installations of about 3,000.
2 applications that had to be done within, 10 days apart or whatever it was suggested to do.
Okay.
So now it's on our plate. If something happens, we're responsible.
Is there any way of preventing that without?
You can apply fungicide preventative, in which we're gonna do some rounds of that this year, so we don't have an outbreak. So that will be applied. You know, It doesn't mean it couldn't happen even applying that, though. So,
I think within our request for proposal, there was soil sampling. I don't think I see that within the proposal.
it's just not stated, but it is, gonna be done. It's
Did
just
we
not.
get all the soil samples this year, guys? The reports?
We didn't do a lot of them, we only did one, really. We did Sawmill Brook twice. I did propose additional lime to Sawmill Brook as the soil test showed.
And within the proposal, what do we have, it twice? Beginning and ending?
Beginning and end, yeah. That way we have a benchmark,
Yep.
if we change contractors or whatever, and then we have a benchmark at the end of the year. It's kind of our only check that we have to make sure stuff
So
was,
we'll- yeah.
applications were, remediation stuff, so.
We have a really good fertilizer program, but we need to do better with the soil samples. We can make sure we get caught up on that.
Do you know when you did it? Did you do it when you started, or
No, it was done early fall, I believe.
early fall?
Okay,
Early fall last year,
This year.
this year.
Yeah.
Just very recently.
Do we have a copy of those?
Yep.
irrigation, did you do any preventive or proactive maintenance, or was it just all reactive when it came to,
No, it was monitored, it's in the contract, we monitor it twice a month.
okay?
So we have a, tech that goes out twice a month and runs through all the zones and the heads and adjusts as needed. You only would get a bill or if we needed to replace a head or something, but adjustments are no charge. So I've been monitoring it weekly and so is the tech. Tech lives in Londonderry, he's here all the time. We know that the irrigation system at Roy Memorial struggles. You know, I couldn't keep enough, I had running that thing, 24 hours and there wasn't enough water. It's just, it struggles at times, that's for sure. We clean the filters on that thing probably monthly and still that didn't help the water flow.
And what were you finding, just a lot of soil and silt?
A lot of
and,
silt, yeah, and a lot of sludge.
Is that what you think the main problem is out there, or what do
I-
you think the problems are on that field?
Again, I'm not
No, you're
an
okay.
expert in the pumps, but I think a lot of it's to do with I don't think the pump's strong enough. I think it's very weak.
Gotcha. Yeah, because
It struggles
it's going
to-
up that hill
It's-
and
It struggles to recover itself when it's running that long,
yeah,
so.
makes sense.
Is your irrigation tech, is he an employee of Alliance or
Oh,
is he
yeah.
a sub?
Yeah, no.
Okay.
Yeah, we have a full irrigation division, fertilizer division. It's all in-house. We don't sub anything out.
Perfect.
So it's not a water supply issue in the water table?
I don't think so. I don't think so. We never ran out of water. It's just,
Okay.
it was real slow at times. You know, I think the pump was struggling.
Could be if there's silt
How
or
old
sand
is
in the pump.
That pump,
I mean,
has it ever been replaced since irrigation was put in
it's
there?
an antique.
Oh, yeah.
The expansion tank that goes with it is just buried in the dirt. You can just see the very top of it sticking out of the dirt.
Yeah, I saw it when we went and found it
It's
that day.
amazing, yeah.
Yeah,
I think to go from that to like what you have over at Jeff Field with the, direct drive, pump system, and you'd be so much better off.
What do you have at, Jeff, you have artesian wells, right? You don't have a point one?
that well gets like 40 gallons a minute.
Yeah, it's
too.
40 plus. It's,
Yeah.
it used to be a pond, so,
Really? I didn't know
and
that.
they filled it in, from
Oh,
what I was
really?
told back in the 60s. When they built the neighborhood, they've put all the fill in there.
Right. Do we have any other questions for Mr. Hilson?
I don't believe so.
I'm good.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
You.
Other member we have with us is Natticook Landscaping, Mr. Ryan Lane. Hi, Ryan, how are you? How are we doing? We're all familiar with Ryan. He's in charge of Natticook Landscaping. Natticook took care of our fields for 2 years, I think, prior. He's a Litchfield resident, lived in town, well, his family's lived in town forever. Natticook's proposal is $87,500. And his proposal includes an artesian well at Roy Memorial Park. This is an increase of $2,500 over our 2022 field maintenance contract. All right, Ryan, if you want to give us your proposal and your speech?
Yep, thank you, Steve. Ryan Lane, 344 Charles Bancroft Highway. As Steve said, owner of Natticook Lawn and Landscape. Most of you here have worked with me in the past. I see a couple new faces with Judy and
Jeff.
Just real quick background, family's been in town since 1922, descendants of the Colby farm. My immediate family established Natticook Farm, which is now Pass Conway Country Club, in 1964 till 1987. So I grew up on the farm as a child. When it was built into Pass Conway, I began working on the grounds crew in 1995, the age of 15. So 27 years of turf and agronomic experience, associate's degree in turf grass management, specializing in entomology, disease pathology. turf agronomics, irrigation. As a working superintendent from 2005 to 2013, I personally handled the design and installation of my irrigation systems, the maintenance of our pump stations, wrote all my agronomic programs. I was essentially responsible for managing a multi-million-dollar operation on a daily basis. That type of work burns you out pretty quick, so started my own landscape company, and the rest is kind of history. So our proposal includes everything that was outlined in the RFP. And in addition to that, as you have probably all read, in exchange for the right of first refusal for the next 3 years, we were going to provide an artesian well, one artesian well to the town of Litchfield for Roy Memorial Park. That would include the drilling, 2 horsepower submersible variable frequency drive pump, and all the corresponding electrical site work and cleanup. Met with Steve and Andy Ruggles on site just to discuss the overall scope of the job and where we would like to install it, what the rec commission feels would probably be the best location, and also to just discuss some of the finer details of our proposal relative to that well. And that about covers it for us. If anybody has any questions, I'd be happy to field them.
So one of the things that did come up is, you know, that irrigation system up there. What do you think the well would do for that system? And I mean, do you think it would significantly improve the problems? I know, you know, like Glenn pointed out, it's a tough spot up there with the irrigation.
Well, there's no silver bullet in this case. That system is handicapped from the water source to the exit via the heads. Under-designed, drastically under-designed. So currently with that pump, which just to remind everybody, we replaced that last year. On a good day, you might see 20 gallons a minute out of it, which for a homeowner's lawn, you know, or a small field like Corning Road fields, for example, they run the same pump. It's adequate. Dara is sand-based soils, formerly a pine forest, well-drained, full sun exposure all day long. It being a wide open area sees a lot of air movement, a lot of wind, so that water that you're putting down is evaporating quickly, and in addition to that, you're getting desiccation of the plants from that hot summer wind. The spacing of the heads at Dara is like nothing I've ever seen. You know, we generally like to see 30 to 35 foot spacing in good conditions with good water pressure, good gallons per minute, and with the anticipation of actually achieving maybe a 5 to 10 foot overlap, so that when you have windy conditions, you're still getting that head-to-head coverage. In the case of Dara, we've got heads out there that are upwards of 50 feet from each other in some cases. I've never seen it before. Will the pump help? Absolutely. It's going to the heart of the matter, which is attempting to, the well end pump, attempting to get you to that gallons per minute that you need in order to maintain that field. But I can't promise that it's gonna fix everything, but it's a start, and you gotta start somewhere. You can't design an irrigation system backwards. We have to determine how much water we can get out of there. And that's kind of what happened at Jeff Lane. When Jeff Lane's well was drilled and they hit 40 gallons a minute, it was like, it's like striking oil. And,
I remember the comments about it when we found the
yeah,
flow.
and when you if you go down there and turn the heads on, they're like cannons.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah,
So,
no water problem there.
No.
What do you think the new system, or the new well, what do you think will get pulled?
crystal ball, right? It can't be any worse. So we're targeting, ideally, we wanna be hitting between 20, 30 gallons a minute. We want that mark. judging by, data that you can pull from the internet on wells in the surrounding area, we're seeing upwards of 25 gallons a minute, at depths that aren't too extreme. So we're not thinking we're gonna have to go too deep. In the event that we, say we go down a couple hundred feet and we hit water and all we're getting is 15 gallons a minute, we're gonna frack it, which, essentially is a hydraulic process where they force water down the well and into the surrounding structure. And, that oftentimes will, yield anywhere from 5 to 10, 15, 20 gallons a minute, depends. You just don't know till you know. So, our target is 30 gallons a minute. Can't make any promises.
But also, even if we get 30, the next bottleneck is gonna be the piping and the heads, so.
Right.
Now, if we were able to get 30, do you think that we'll have a little bit of coverage? We'll at least have
Yeah.
consistent water.
Yeah, we'll be able to up the nozzle size and the heads,
Okay.
and we'll be able to push a higher pressure out there than what that little pump can achieve down by the pond. Cause right now, your field pressure is just, it's gotta make a 200-foot push before it even gets to the field, uphill,
Uphill.
in a 1-inch pipe. I mean, you got a 1-inch pipe feeding into an 1.5 inches and back down to 1 1/4 inches. It's,
1-inch pipe doesn't
I,
make
I-
any sense.
I've never seen anything like it,
So would that be replaced as part of
Yeah,
this
from the well, we
process?
would just run 1.5 inches to the 1.5 inches. And then it's,
Okay.
from there, it goes to 1.25 inches throughout the field, to 1.25 inches valves, and then it's back down to 1-inch line. And that again, that 1-inch line is inhibiting us downstream.
Yeah.
1-inch polyethylene, you really can't push much more than 20 gallons a minute out of it without getting some pushback or pressure spikes. You're not gonna get the flow that you need, but we can try,
Did I hear you right? You said that the pump was replaced last year?
yes.
Okay. Well, I thought I heard earlier. that
That's
it was
when,
an antique.
that's when
It was-
that's when the filters were put in. I don't know if you remember that. Oh, I don't know if you were on the board at that point.
I replaced the pump at cost.
Okay.
Put filters in and then did all the heads, 142, 143 heads. There were videos when he was pulling off, there's all the slurry coming out of it and everything, it was so clogged.
And this new well would augment the current one or replace it?
Replace. I would decommission the other one. I would recommend decommissioning the other one.
So,
The other advantage with this artesian well is you're more than likely gonna get clean water now,
That would be nice.
so that's gonna alleviate a lot of issues, a lot of
right now,
maintenance.
it's a point well, right?
Yeah.
We don't know how deep it is.
Yeah, historically, they used to pull directly from the pond. When I was a kid, they threw a line out there and pulled right from it. And in that case, they might have been able to push some more water, but I can't really paint that picture in detail, looking back 20 years.
So within 1 year of having I guess it would be 2 seasons of having the well, because I think you did the well at the beginning of the second year.
Spring,
He replaced the pump, filters, and all the 120-something heads and Glenn's company managed it for a year, and they're already saying it did no
clogged
good.
up.
Yeah, it clogged them up. It's doing more damage by using it. All right. So some of the discussion we had with Ryan is his idea would be to, we actually had a CIP discussion about this while you were out. We presented to the CIP, one of the requests was to put a well at, address our issue at Royal Memorial Park. And what we'd like to do is put a shed, put everything inside the shed, put the shed up by the snack shack or that central area closer to the field so that we're not pulling up a hill. And that was all the idea and the proposal that we had for the CIP. So this would, when I went in front of the CIP, they liked the idea and they were in favor of using either opera funds or doing a warrant article. And listening to the Board of Selectmen meeting, I think there's gonna be 800 warrant articles, so I think opera funds. It, I think it won't fix it, but it will definitely help the issue. And if you were at the fields this summer, a lot of them looked really good, but Roy Memorial was struggling, and that is the center of the town. That is the field everybody uses.
That's what
that
everybody
gets
uses the most, that's for sure.
Well, that's our motivation behind it. You know, obviously, we want the business, but long-term residents of Litchfield grew up on these fields, and it's one of those things where we don't wanna be a contractor that just takes. You know, we wanna give back where we can, and there's a lot of issues going on in town that reach far beyond the rec commission. And budgets are tight, money's tight. You know, we're trying to get blood from a stone on so many fronts, and we have the ability to help, and we would like to, and all that we ask in return is that, you know, everybody understands that it's in good graces, and it's because we wanna enter into a partnership.
So just to be clear, so you're offering the well if we present to you the first right of refusal for 24 and 25, correct?
Correct.
Can you give me an estimate of what something like this, the undertaking like this might cost if we had a company come in and do it?
You're probably looking at a minimum of 15,000 to sky's the limit.
Okay.
So that's why we put in there, one well, one drilling, rather than, hey, we're gonna get you 60 gallons a minute, you know?
There's a lot of caveats, how far you have to go, what flow you get
Right.
out of it.
Right, and, you know, we have to understand that, you know, I do have a business to run, and I can't, as much as I wanna be Santa Claus, I can't give it all away. So I think if we ever gonna go down this road, we need to establish, you know, kind of a not to exceed number as well that protects us. And that's just it. If this ends up costing me $20,000, that right of first refusal for the next 3 years, it covers us. You know, it allows us to put our head on our pillow and sleep at night. So.
I guess my follow-up to that question is in terms of a right of first refusal, it's like, what, is there a cap on the amount that we're looking at first refusal? Like, you could come back and like, yeah, we wanna do it, but it's gonna be a 20% increase, and
Yeah, it's a good question. I would hope that we could all sit down and just take a 35,000 foot view of what we have going on currently a year from now. And what we can expect, primarily economically, you know, and in the event that gas balloons to $10 a gallon, you know, we do have to take that into consideration. Am I gonna come here and say, look, we're going up 20%? Absolutely not.
right. You know, what I mean, again, you mean, the economy is all over the place right now.
Right.
We all know that.
Right.
But it's also a factor of, okay, so there's, you know, I mean, we look at the economy and these are the costs and we can see it and we factor that in versus just saying, well, we're just gonna raise it this much.
Right.
So,
Yep.
I mean, that would be that's my only caveat to the whole, just to bring that up now.
Yeah, it would be mine too, you know, and, I mean, who knows? The bottom could fall out and we could go back to, pre-COVID pricing. You know, I'm not gonna sit here and laugh my way all the way to the bank. We'll look at that.
Right.
That's something we actually probably gonna have to talk with legal, because I don't know how much of an increase we could put each year without requiring to go back to bid. So we would have to work with legal to have a set percentage. Because then we also can't lock you in saying every year, you know, you can go up like, you know, 20,000, and all of a sudden, you know, we doubled our budget.
Well, if Natticook's listed in Appendix A, which is preferred vendors, there's a whole different avenue to go down.
And there's definitely a dollar.
It's all the dollars are there, but it's easier to address the purchasing policy if they're a preferred vendor under Appendix A.
Okay, gotcha.
Do we know if they're there now, or?
Don't know, you wanna look at the purchasing policy, Bob? Appendix A?
So, my understanding of the right of first refusal is if you've got two equivalent bids.
So that's actually something we're gonna talk about a little later, I put on the agenda, is, it's one area that we kinda left open when we decided to go to this 1 year to 3 year contract. So the reason why we did it that way is, years ago, before I was even on the commission, we had a contractor that wasn't meeting our needs, and I think we had a lawyer up to get rid of him. And so then we decided, you know what, let's not lock ourselves into a 3 year contract, we'll go with a 1 year.
Right.
And everything works out, we'll go to 2 years, and it's something I spoke with Glenn about this year, is we don't have any framework on how do you offer that 2 year extension. When do we do it, how do we do it, and what are our caps? You know, what is the framework and the parameters around moving forward?
Right.
And that's something, we definitely need in place, because how do we let the vendor know? So it is something a little later we will definitely get into, and then we're gonna have to speak with legal to get everything laid out to make sure what we're doing is legal, but we do need some.
So, what's your expectation when you say the right of first refusal for the next, for 3 years?
Essentially, we just wanna be given the opportunity to come to the table prior to another RFP, extension, to the public. And say, look, this is where we're at, this is what we think, next year would cost, and essentially extend that contract or re-up that contract for the following.
Oh, okay. And so, you would set the price that you're gonna put in that bid, and then the commission would decide whether that's good enough, and just go without the RFP, or if the increase is too much, then we would just go to an RFP.
And that's the part that's the gray area we have to work with legal. If we have a contract for 3 years, or 3 years, can we renegotiate before or do you have to go right back to RFP? That's.
So this doesn't sound like it's a contract, it's not a 3-year contract.
No, the way it's written is a 1 year contract with a 2 year extension, but we never said how we could enact or act on that 2 year extension.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to understand.
My contract that I'm in now is signed, it says that, it says a 1 year contract with a 2 year extension, signed.
And I think that's at the will of the commission. Is the way, when we had legal look at it, I think it was set up, it was the will of the commission on what we wanted to do for the subsequent years.
To extend it.
So by putting out the RFP this year, you opted not to extend
Correct.
the contract.
Yeah. But what we are lacking is, how do we speak with you about providing the 2 year contract? When do we do it? How do we do it? And what are the parameters and pricing around it? And that was a oversight on the commission's fault, for sure.
Before you changed the RFP and added the fungicide and stuff, Alliance was under the impression that we were just gonna continue for 2 more years at the price we were at. Then when the new RFP came out, and it's like a time to reevaluate where you're at and put out new pricing, so the new pricing came out, and that's what happened. But if we wanna go back to the, 1 year with a 2 year extension and run at the same price, at the same specs, that Alliance would do that. It's just.
That makes sense.
Is there any additional questions? Do you have any more questions?
Not right now.
Not right now. Anyone else?
What's that?
Thank you, Ryan. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Ryan.
You're welcome.
To our agenda. Alright, so field maintenance contract and the extension procedure, which do you guys wanna do first? Do you want me to go over my idea of the extension, or do you wanna? So let's go with that first. So what I'm proposing, and I think.
Are we gonna go through the rest of the bids or no?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's,
I'm like,
no one else is here, is it? Sorry, I was away for a week. I thought Andy had this.
I gotta be
Alright.
home if Andy was running the meeting.
Give me the gavel.
Alright, we had 5 bids total. Moran's Landscaping out of Nashua came in. Moran's was totaled out at $95,880. Let me get to Andy's little,
But that was only for proposal 1.
yes.
Correct. And it was hard to tell. It was just a spreadsheet. So, you know, as far as the fungicide and seeding high traffic areas, it said TBD on all the fields. So it didn't have numbers for those. So I don't know if it included it, and there was no inclusions. Didn't include part 2 of the proposal. So that was that one.
I'm under the impression TBD means it's not included right now.
I would
That's what I would
agree.
think
Correct.
too.
Yeah, that's what